Would you like to live your best life possible, regardless of your imperfections? Discover cutting-edge tools and inspiration to let go of your limitations and expand your life beyond what you've ever imagined. On Imperfect Brilliance, we help you tap into your unique gifts and talents, uncovering and letting your brilliance shine. Join certified facilitator and coach Betsy McLaughlin as she delves into different areas of your life to get unstuck and create the life that is truly possible for you. Betsy has changed her life by utilizing the tools and techniques she is sharing with you. What if your willingness to acknowledge your brilliance is the catalyst to creating a new reality? When you stop judging you, what else can you create in your life and in the world? Join Betsy live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern to create magical and joyous possibilities for an hour of laughs, questions, tips, and more. We are excited to contribute and play with you.
Hello, welcome to the Imperfect Brilliance radio show. I'm Michelle Lyall, and we're here with the Perfect Takeover. I'm so excited about today's live. I get the privilege of interviewing Miss Betsy McLaughlin myself, and we get to hear a little bit about her for a change. So how does it get better than that? Hi, Betsy, are you on?
Hi, Michelle.
Welcome to your radio show.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Well, how fun. I think everybody is tuning in to hear, like, what the heck is going on with you? You've changed so much, and you're out in the limelight, and we get to see your gorgeous face everywhere and doing new classes. So tell us a little bit about what's happening.
Well, thank you very much. It's been quite a journey, and what's really cool is, for me, it feels like it's so much more than releasing weight from my body, which I have done, and it's like it's a transformation for my body as well as for my being, and it's just been really lots and lots of fun.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't recognize the impact of change on their entire being and their entire life when we're so focused on just our body. So can you talk a little bit about how you kind of bridge that gap for yourself?
Wow. Yeah. Many years of not knowing how to do it. And in bridging the gap, let's see. For most of my life, I've been so many different weights, and weights and sizes. And when I would want to lose weight, I would just be like, okay, I'm going on a diet. And I would choose a diet, and lots of different ones I have done in my life.
like many of us out in the world.
Right? Like, let me try this one this time, and let me try this one that time. And so and I would just follow, whatever the prescribed program was. And, it would work for a while, or maybe a long while. And then what would happen is I would always end up feeling deprived. I couldn't have the things that I wanted. And after a while, it just was like I would go back to old habits, I guess is the easiest way to say it. And then with the old habits for me was eating things that were more than my body could really handle. And, as far as like the calories or the things that I was putting in my body. And so then the weight would kind of start creeping back on.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think changed for you this time? Because, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And, you know, when I say like you've changed so much, I get to see you in so many different aspects and how we play together. And it's not just your weight that's changed. Like there's so much about just how you show up in the world. So what for you was kind of that like switch that flipped?
Wow. And, you know, it's really kind of fun to hear other people's, you know, what they see, because of course you don't necessarily see the same thing. And what flipped the switch for me was starting to really not be happy with what my body was showing me physically. And I had ignored it a lot of times, off and on, but she was getting louder. I guess it's the easiest way to say it. And I was in a lot of pain, and I was really stiff, and I was having trouble walking and feeling really old. And I was like, something's got to change here, because this is not fun. And I could kind of, for a minute, I had a flash of, if I continued down this path, I could see what was laid out in front of me.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was really this expletive no. It's like, no, no. And that was like the defining moment for me of, okay, something, like, it's got to change. It's just got to change. And in that, it was, I'm so fortunate that I have so many tools and all kinds of things where I could start talking to my body and know how to communicate with her. Now, I have been ignoring her a lot, overriding what my body was asking me for and telling me. But it's like, oh, okay, body, I'm going to listen now. I'm really sorry. I'm really, really sorry. And it's, think about it like if you, and I'm sure most people listening would have a time when they did something that they needed to go apologize for.
Right. That doesn't apply to anybody listening.
Just you and me. We're the only ones in the show. So it was basically that kind of conversation of, I'm so sorry. I have overridden. I haven't listened. I've had my blinders on. You've been telling me through many different things, and I've just been misoblivious over here or misoverride until, and what I have discovered is, when you're not listening to your body, they get louder and they get louder and they get louder. And that's the point that I was at. So, right. And she was so loud and I was like, oh, okay, I'm finally listening. I just started asking a lot of questions. What do you require? And so that was so different. Instead of saying, okay, I'm going to do XYZ diet, or I'm going to do blah, 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 or I'm going to do, it was really, what do you require? And she was very clear with me what she required. And I was like, okay. And so that was kind of the start of it.
Yeah. I think maybe there's people out there listening going, how do you listen to your body? I know, for us, people who have so many different tools that we play with every single day, we've gotten accustomed to knowing what, the difference between ourselves and our body and the communion that plays together. But if you were to, break that down for someone who's like, what do you mean you're not your body? And how do you listen to your body? What would you say?
Wow. That's a great question. Let me think how I can answer this the best, and please feel free to, add what you know as well. for so long, it was just like I treated my body just like this thing. And a lot of times it was inconvenient. And I can even remember some of the things I would say of like, oh gosh, this would be so much easier if I didn't have a body, or this would be so much easier if I didn't have blah, blah, blah. And, just like discounting my body on a regular basis. And so when I started like looking at that, it's you're with your body every moment of every day, right? Until you breathe your last breath. And in looking at that, it's like, would I treat, anybody else the way I'm treating my body?
Yeah.
And right. So those were some of the things that I started to ask that got me to see how I had kept my body so separate from me. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well, but it was.
Yeah, you okay. are. It's so beautiful. Actually, gave me full body chills because it just touched something inside. Just the honoring of recognizing that, I loved how you said that. Every moment of every day till you take your last breath, you are with this body.
Mm-hmm. You are.
And, we wouldn't treat our partners the way that we treat our body or our friends or, whatever. So I love that you brought it home in that way to
thank you.
I'm so separate from my body and I'm treating it so different than I'm treating, people that I love and those close to me.
Right. And think about it,
yeah.
right? If I treated anyone else the way that I had many, 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 many times had such disregard for my body, would they be in my life?
Wow. That's such a great question. Nobody else who's listening out there should ever ask that. Just kidding. Please ask that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Wow. So that
was the start of it. Yeah.
That's a great place to start, and it makes a lot of sense to me anyway. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say I listen to my body and she speaks loud, can you say more about that?
Sure. So for me, the loudness was translated into body pain. I had a lot of pain in my knees and my back, and I felt really, really, really stiff. And it was just, okay, you have my attention. And so that was how she finally got my attention.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like that was loud.
Very loud.
And, I'm thinking about a lot of people out there who have different pains in their bodies and all the ways that we're taught to manage that pain instead of listening to it. So what would you say contributed to you knowing to listen to the pain versus manage the pain?
Again, a wonderful question. And there were many years where I would manage the pain. And actually looking at that, I think I used to take, I would sometimes count, has it been 4 hours? Can I take more Advil? And I would be at the maximum amount of Advils I could take, or on a prescription Motrin, or at some points, even something heavier, like that you have to get prescribed, like, I can't think of the names of any of them, but, it was just, I was managing all of my pains and all of that stuff through medication. And that was, if I had a headache, I went to the cabinet and I took an aspirin, and I, if my knees hurt, if my back, whatever, I was just constantly medicating. And so that was definitely one way of that I didn't know then, that you could start to ask a lot of questions to find out, what might actually be going on, that it might not actually be whatever you think that it is. Yeah, I forgot your original question. Okay,
that's okay. I think
okay.
I think you got it.
Okay,
but it just points out like how much in this world we're so used to being disconnected from our bodies, and then everything that is supposed to contribute to your body actually contributes to more of that disconnection.
Definitely.
So, you're in pain, and then you get a prescription to manage the pain, but what that's actually doing is taking you farther away from that relationship with your body. So interesting how that's how it works. Yeah. And I'm so happy to hear that you broke that pattern and that you have some really cool tools that you've used personally to change that. But it sounds like we're going to go to a break here real quick, so we'll get to more of that after the break.
Great.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at OMTimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me the Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Are you looking to change anything in your life, to have an even greater appreciation of everything around you? Would you enjoy having a life of more joy and greater abundance, and explore what is possible for you? My name is Betsy McLaughlin, and I invite you to explore simple and pragmatic tools that I share on my radio show, Imperfect Brilliance. I know firsthand that you can change anything. We explore tools and questions with amazing guests, offering all kinds of conversations on living your best life. I invite you to listen in Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern to Imperfect Brilliance. Consider a coaching call with me, and let's explore what you would like your life to be like. Visit my website at www.creatingyumminess.com, and you're invited to call in to Imperfect Brilliance with your questions, Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. I look forward to connecting.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Welcome back, where we have done the perfect takeover, and we get to interview Betsy McLaughlin today, and you get to hear a little bit about her story. We ended at our commercial break talking about how easy it is to stay separated from our body, and now coming back, we've added Christine Ciona to the takeover here. So welcome, Christine.
Hi, thank you, Michelle.
Yay! And yay! So let's get back, because we're so excited to hear, Betsy, some of the tools that you use to bridge that gap between separating from your body and actually listening to her. So, well, what do you want to share?
Well, the first piece that we kind of touched on a little bit, which was actually looking at how much I had disregarded her, and actually having an apology to my body of like, that was the first thing. I am so sorry. I have really just been an overriding, you know what, and not paying any attention to you. And I am so sorry. And so that was kind of the start of it. And then really just, okay, what can we do now? And, you know, it's like that mea culpa that I talked about earlier, like when you screw up with somebody and you just kind of lay it all out on the table and say, oh my God, I really have just messed up royally here. And what can I do to, you know, make this better? What could I do to make up for the damage done? Like, please tell me. And so that was the first thing that I did.
So powerful. I can like, my body's like, say you're sorry to me right now. Oh, I love that.
One question that's popping for me as I'm hopping in here is just about body language. Like when we're, you know, you're separating yourself from your body, and then you start to flip the switch and then talk to your body and engage with the body and apologize to her. And is there a moment when you had this new language that showed up? Like, what was that like when all of a sudden your body's talking to you and you're hearing her in a different way than from the judgment or whatever that was before we were separating ourselves? Like, is there a story that's popping for you about a moment where you noticed it was a different language, where there was like, oh, wow, this is a different body than I had before? Does that make sense?
It does. It really does. So, gosh, there's so many different ways I could go here. Let me think. When I had that apology to my body, there was this melting, for lack of a better way to describe it, of so many of the barriers and judgments and just all this stuff that some I knew about, some I had no idea was there. And it just kind of like, you know, an ice cream cone that's been left out, and it's just melted all over the place. And with that melting, I was actually able to, and, you know, like, here is the only way I can really say it, but of course I can't hear my body like you hear me right now, but it's the way to learn how your body is talking to you. And there are times that I still even say to my body, you got to remember, we kind of speak a different language, and I don't always understand what you're saying to me, like what you're communicating to me. So can you help make it so that I can understand when I don't get what is going on? So that's one of the things that I do, right? Just like keep having this conversation to keep that communication open and going.
And that's beautiful. I mean, if you think about learning a foreign language, it can take a lifetime. It's not like just buying Rosetta Stone and becoming fluent in Spanish. You know, it's an ongoing relationship and an ongoing commitment to learning the language and being willing to keep having that conversation and that commitment to you and that relationship. it's really quite beautiful. And I'm just excited about, that commitment of, no, I'm committing to me, and I'm committing to this body that I have in a new way.
Yes.
And it's quite inspiring to see that. And it doesn't even require language. It's just who you're being, and how that's an invitation for others is a really great gift.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, listening to your body, it's kind of, we're not taught to do that. And so it kind of becomes like an art form. It's like a retraining yourself to truly, ask questions along the way and allow your body to have that input.
So true. So true. Oh my gosh.
Well, it's definitely working for you, Betsy. we noticed. Yes.
Sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
No, you go. This is great.
So I have this question, and I know I missed the first part of our call and conversation with the takeover. So it's really fun to have you on the hot seat. That's great. I have this question, and it's about weight, actually, and it's interesting about being seen and what that's been like for you, because there was a time where, like, I think at this moment, you've released, I love the language you've used of like releasing 200 pounds, not losing, releasing, like there's a different intent there, which is beautiful. And there's a different relationship to body, conversation with her, listening to her. And what is it like being seen by other people differently when you're still Betsy? It's just you've released 200 pounds. Like, what is that like? Because we talk a lot about, it doesn't matter what other people think of you. What matters is that you're awesome, no matter if you're 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 1,000 pounds. Like, it doesn't matter your shoe size or your waist size. And today, I'm just knowing about this takeover. I'm like, wow, this is really interesting that we're having a conversation and your energy is different. You're amping up more of you somehow, and you've also released 200 pounds of you. What is that like for you to have other people see you? And I mean, maybe, I don't know if they're seeing you different or what that is, but what is that like?
Well, these are all great questions. And I will actually even change the number, because from my top weight, it's almost 300 pounds. So it's, and when I look at that, I'm like, oh my God, it's.
Yeah, that could be like two people.
Two people. It could be three people, and. Yeah. Right. So having that as when I had that in my life, I didn't want to be seen. I did everything possible to hide from judgment, to hide from myself, and the only thing that ever comforted me at all was food. And it was the kind of food that put weight on my body. And that would just set off a whole cycle of more judgment and more criticism and more depression and more of all the things that you really don't want in your life. And that is what I kept creating, like, over and over and over again. So now that, then I released a couple of 100 pounds, and I did learn that there was actually saying release as opposed to lose. When I learned that, and I was like, oh, that's actually cool, because when you lose something, you're trying to find it. You're trying to find it again. No, thank you. I don't desire to find these ever again. So, I'm very, very cognitive, right, of saying, I've released it, I've let it go, bye-bye, it's never coming back. Like, and for the first time ever, I really know that it is not ever. And I yo-yoed up and down and up and down. And it's like, nope, that's my past and that is not my present or my future. And I have such a knowing about that in that itself is such a beautiful, like, knowing, right? So that was kind of a long way to get to your question, and how is it for others to see me? So they are also responding. So a lot of people have known I've been this kind of size that I've been for the last maybe 5 or 6 years, somewhere in there, maybe 7, 8, I don't know. You kind of lose track of time. But that, and then I have released since December, another 115 pounds so far. I'm still, the scale is still moving, which is fun. And, but people that have, maybe not known me before this time, they're seeing, of course, the physical transformation, but they're also seeing the unhiding of me. Right, because I'm not hiding anymore. I'm not keeping myself in a corner. I'm not trying to be invisible and all of the things that I did for so long. So people they're also responding to that besides the physical.
Yeah, that's really potent for me, Betsy. Like, my whole body's tingling. I can almost cry just unhiding of you. And it's amazing what, when we hear about this, right? Like, let your light shine. You'll encourage other people to do the same. And we have no idea the impact we're having on people just by allowing ourselves to not hide. And in all of those things that you're doing, in the releasing, the weight is coming off your body, but you talk about releasing, and melting off the judgments and the barriers and all, like the energetic weight. And we all have that. No matter what our weight physical is, no matter what our shape of our body is, we all carry weight energetically. And we all hide in different ways. And so I'm just so grateful for your body. Like, I'm grateful for you, but I'm like, thank you, Betsy's body, for allowing this to also be possible for all of us. Because I'm also aware of my own weights and judgments that I have of myself and other people as I, get to see you more and be, create more with you and celebrate all of the things that are happening. And I'm just really grateful for your body. It is potent, man.
You should,
Great.
It is. It is. Thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, how often do you ever hear someone say, thank you, Betsy's body? I love that so much.
I know, me too. And you're welcome.
And it feels, this. Go ahead, Betsy.
Sorry, there's delays on the radio, so we're not trying to talk over each other, guys. And I'll just say this is just a quick little analogy. It's like the wild stallions, right, that people are always trying to tame. I'm like doing the opposite. I'm letting that stallion go loose, baby.
Well, and when I, hearing about this, your new creations that you're choosing with your business and your body, with this, this new creation happening called Bite-Sized Pieces with Betsy. And when I tap into the energy of that creation that you're inviting people to play with, it really is, for me, your body's creation. Like this, like your body just going, Betsy, I got something to tell people. And like, okay, cool. I'll be the I'll be the speaker of the house for this experience. And your body has a lot to share, and I'm really excited about that upcoming creation.
Me too. And I reined myself in for so long. We'll go back to the horse analogy apparently today, and where I wouldn't allow myself to talk even about what I knew even before I listened all the way to my body. And I'm actually kind of floored at how much I actually know. Does that make sense?
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Well, I think there's a wisdom in all of us that's deeper than we know. And if we tap into that language you're talking about without separating ourselves from our bodies, like you mentioned in the beginning of the call, there's a depth of knowledge and a depth of language and a depth of awareness that can completely transform our lives if we allow ourselves to connect with the wisdom of our bodies.
That is freaking beautiful and so well said, Christine. Wow.
Inspired by you, baby.
Well, it looks like we're going to take another little break, and we'll be back.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Well, friends, we are back, and this is Christine here, and I am part of the amazing Perfect Takeover, and we've got Betsy as our guest on her own show. This is so much fun. I just want to welcome Betsy, and so glad that you're in the hot seat, so thank you so much.
Thanks for doing this. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're flipping the switch. Excellent.
I love flipping the switch.
It's fun.
You know, at the last little bit of the segment, Christine, you mentioned the things that Betsy and her body are creating, and I am super excited to hear a little bit more about that. So I wonder if we can pick your brain a little bit, Betsy, about all of the things in motion with you and your body and your creation.
Well, thank you guys so much. There's a lot of stuff like in creation that isn't completely formed yet. So y'all will just have to stay tuned for that piece. But what we do have that we have launched is called Bite-Sized Pieces for Your Body. And it actually came out from, these were words that I said, and then, the amazing, marvelous Michelle and Christine were like, wait, and they, started writing it down, and that was how this program was born. I just finished up another program. It was called 21 Days of Creating Yumminess with Your Body, which went so far beyond what I had even thought that it might. And from that, all of these other things and ideas were born. And, talking about not holding myself back and allowing myself to know everything I know and allow the wisdom and the knowledge in the beautiful way that Christine said it right before we went to break. And so the next piece is it's 6-week program, and it's called, as I said, Bite-Sized Pieces for Your Body. And we're going to kind of break things down a little bit because there's so many different things with our bodies. And in that, what it's going to be, the program is 2 Facebook Lives a week and a Zoom a week. So on the Zoom, you'll be able to get your questions questions answered and have facilitation. And on top of, and that's 6 weeks of that. And then on top of that, we also have 3 bonus calls, which you can choose to do individually if you didn't want to jump into the whole 6 weeks. And that's, the first one is actually tomorrow, and it's a sampling. And it's kind of a sampling. And then the next one is going to be the 24th of November, and that is called Stuffing the Lies. And we're going to explore all the different ways we stuff lies into our lives, into our bodies, and what we can do to change that. And then the third bonus call is Unwrapping the Gift of Your Body, and that will be December 22nd, before the holidays. So that's, and you guys might want to, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to this since you know about the creation, but that's, a little thumbnail about it.
Well, and go ahead, Michelle.
One thing that popped when you first introduced Bite-Sized Pieces for Your Body, it really made me think about enjoying eating when you take like one bite of something and then you let it melt in your mouth and you kind of like slow eat. That it really brought that to the surface for me, because how much more delicious is that when we do it, and then breaking down anything that we're using to change our lives in that same fashion, and how much more delicious it could be to experience it. And so that got me instantly got me super jazzed up and excited about receiving each little bit in a kind of like a slow digestion, so to speak.
Well, and so many people, when it comes to our bodies, we make it so complicated. Like when you were speaking, Betsy, about, the separation of ourselves from our body, we make it so complicated in, how we feel good in the clothes that we wear, and how am I supposed to nourish my body with the food I eat, or all of these things. And we look for these recipes that are supposed to fix it all, instead of how much fun can it be in these little bite-sized pieces. And as Michelle was saying, these delicious morsels that are really easy to digest and nourishing and nurturing, and not, a 30-day regimen of burpees and a bunch of other things to make it hard and complicated. And that's what excites me, is the ease of this.
Yes.
And that, your Q&A questions where people can come once a week and just have integration time. We don't have to do it all in a really intense weekend. You know, we have 6 weeks to unveil, and we have 6 weeks to play with our bodies and to be kind and to melt. I love that image. We talk about melting like an ice cream cone in the sun. Like, yeah, I would like to melt away like an ice cream cone in the sun, all the things that don't contribute to my body. Yeah. And to have these little bite-sized samplings of things is really appetizing. Mm-hmm. The timing also, I think, is great. You know, when you think about Thanksgiving and Christmas and the body, Betsy, what pops for you?
Well, you know, that's so interesting because I actually started my different lifestyle of all of what we're talking about the week before Christmas. And I always love baking the cookies and, you know, doing all the holiday stuff that I normally do. And I had a moment because my body asked me to, it was so loud, like, to cut out the sugar. And I was like, okay, all right, really? Okay. Because I was just so used to eating the way I was eating. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I could wait. I could wait till after Christmas. I could wait till New Year's. I could wait till February. You know, there's always a reason that I could put it off. And I've done that plenty of times. And I said, no, okay, your body's very loud, very clear with you right now. What if we choose something different? It's, you know, it's only, you know, it's just this Christmas. You could, because I knew at that point, if I had done my normal baking, I knew that it would probably be too much temptation for me. And I didn't want to do that to myself at that point. Now I could do it. It wouldn't be a problem at all, which is just such a marvelous place to be in. So, but I was like, no, you know, my body's very clear with me. I'm not going to ignore her. I just finished apologizing to her. I'm not going to do that. Like, no, I'm going to be that committed person that I said I was going to be. And so then it just became really easy. And, you know, when we had Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner and all of those things, we still had the stuff that they wanted, you know, like my son liked mashed potatoes and, you know, all those things. And it was like, okay. And I found things that I could eat, and that's what I ate. And I was also, my body was going through so many changes that I actually was a little uncomfortable. So it was, you know, just, I was changing so much that I didn't even really want to eat that much at that point, just because I was not feeling well. And I was like, okay, so whatever all of this is, I just knew that it was temporary, and it was because I was changing everything so dynamically. And I think the piece I forgot to say that I definitely want to be sure I mention, within 3 days of changing what I was eating, the pain and the stiffness were gone.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I was like, oh my God, body, you are so much smarter than I am. And that's when I was like, okay, you're definitely okay. It was such a beautiful gift for me to see that piece be so quick, even when I wasn't feeling so good, just from the change of this, you know, everything my body was doing. But I was like, okay, whatever this is, we're going to just keep going, because I know that this is temporary. And it was.
And, you know, I love that story, Betsy, because what you said earlier is, I just asked, like, what if I just made a different choice? And then you made a different choice, and then 3 days later you were not in pain. Like, what if we just all made a different choice? And then we just see what shows up from that different choice. I love that. Yeah.
The other piece I want to mention that's really lighting me up right now is the fact that people aren't doing this alone. Like, so much of the shame we have of our bodies is we then do this alone. Like, we eat alone, we diet alone, we, hide in our car eating alone, and we don't want to talk about it. And we don't want to let people know that we've got stuff going on with our bodies, and we fake it, which is totally fine. And what I love about this is it's a collective creative experience where everyone can come and be who you're being, and we get to play together for 6 weeks just before the holidays, and then kick it off at the end with this fantastic unwrapping the gift of your body. I mean, no matter what you choose in all of it, we're doing in this beautiful, creative, collective place, which also feels really fun.
Well, thank you so much for saying that, Christine, and it's so true. And it doesn't matter where you are right now, and that's the thing. Like, it will be such a space of absolute allowance for anything that's going on, and there's going to be people that who have all kinds of different whatever. None of it matters. Like, we're all just there to contribute to each other, contribute to our bodies, contribute to greater and more ease with everything, and we'll go wherever you guys want to go. There's, and that's one of the things that I do is just, I follow the energy and, the questions that are coming in for all of these things. And so I have really no set, I know there will be some things I want to talk about, but it's not like we're going to follow a set agenda or anything. It's really like what works for you guys, and where are you, and what would you like to explore and maybe have be easier in your life. And so that's where we're going to go. And it doesn't matter what, and you said this a little earlier, Christine, it doesn't matter what size you are. You could weigh 60 pounds and you could weigh 2,000 pounds. It doesn't matter. It's like, what can we do collectively now and moving forward to create beyond anything that you've created so far?
Yeah. Wow.
I'm in. Well, I'll be there.
Same. I'm like, sign me up. Thank you so much, Betsy. And thank you for allowing Christine and myself to, take over, do this perfect takeover, and interview you and hear a little bit about your journey and what you're creating and how you got here and all of the yummy, delicious, juicy stuff. It's been really, really fun. And I'm so grateful to be able to be part of this. So I thank you so much.
And how do people sign up and find this nugget? Where did they go, Betsy?
Where do they go? I think I forgot to say that piece. Thank you very much. So it is on the website at www.creatingyumminess.com, and you can do the /bite, BITE, and all the information is there. And if you have any problems at all, please just you can find me on Facebook, private message me, and we'll be sure we get you in. And if you're listening to this and it's after the 18th, you can still join. The official Facebook part doesn't start till the 25th, but we'll keep it open for a little bit. So you guys can come and join, and you'll get all the replays if you can't be there live, and all that good stuff. And knowing me, I'm sure I'm going to throw some other things in, because it's just, I love knitting. And so who knows where the adventures will go. But Christine and Michelle both, thank you so much for coming on and playing. This was super duper fun for me.
So much fun. Michelle, you and I might have like a whole new future for us. Taking over radio shows.
Let's do it. I'm in.
I think they may come back and take over some other times too, as we have different things, different topics we'll want to talk about. But well, so much fun. And truly, like, wherever you guys are with your bodies, it's all okay. And that's the other thing, that just our bodies, they don't judge us. Well, I'm going to say that again. Our bodies do not judge us. We judge the heck out of our bodies, but they don't judge us. And that was such a beautiful, when I realized that, I was like, that really contributed to the melting.
Love it. That's beautiful. I thank you for saying that. Yeah, that touches my soul. Our bodies do not judge us. Wow.
Yeah. It's so true.
Well,
and
thank you. Beautiful. I'm waiting for wrap-up music, but maybe we still have more time.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. That. Cue the wrap-up music. Dance it out.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. This was so fun.
Thanks
for listening, everybody.